Classic WoW, what we know so far. See, here's one thing that we know right now. Is, alright, who here thinks Classic... Who here thinks Classic's going to be better than BFA? I'm actually curious. Who thinks it's going to actually just be better than BFA? Me? Okay, there's a lot of people. I think Classic's going to be really good. And I really hope it's going to be good, dude. I really, really hope it's going to be good. I'd love to play a game that other people like watching. Because right now on my stream, it feels like people only watch me to listen to me talk. Like, does anybody really care that I didn't get the item in the seed of the triumvirate? God, I fucking hope not. I mean, it doesn't really matter, right? It's a fun thing to do, but at the end of the day, I mean, WoW is just the reason that I play WoW, like one thing that I really like about it is it basically allows me to just do a radio show. Like, I mean, this is all it really is. It's just a radio show. Who gives a fuck? Like whenever I actually have real content, you know, whenever something new comes out, I am so excited. I am so happy because it gives me legitimate content for me to do on my stream. And I would play these other games, right? Like Sekiro, etc. But I'm just so fucking stupid at these games. I have to spend all my mental brain power thinking, wait, what's the button to attack? And I can never even focus on anything else. And I'm just dog shit. So I don't know. It's kind of annoying to me. In terms of players, BFA wins. I think that Classic is going to surpass BFA at the beginning. And I think that it will slowly go down and then level off at a normal population and then maybe slightly grow over time depending on how the community is. And I think that that's one of the interesting things about Classic is that the way the community perceives and interprets Classic is going to be a huge reason and a huge impactor in the way that the way it's going to go, right? Because like if the community is just like super toxic and like really bad, then I could absolutely see Classic like that actually being negative for Classic. I don't think it's anything that Blizzard can really control, but it's something that they absolutely need to be aware of. I think it's a huge problem, honestly. 100% will be higher at launch, but Phase 2 will even out. Yeah, I mean, like, imagine if Blizzard made a bad expansion after BFA. I think you could legitimately see Classic overtake retail WoW. Like, if the expansion after BFA is bad, I think that we'll absolutely see, like, a lot more Classic stuff. That's my opinion. Plan raids coming back. Sad retail plebs can't understand our BFA is bad. Well, the thing is, like, I mean, I really like WoW, and I'm always going to love WoW, and that's never going to change. It's like in 50 years, I'm probably still going to buy the new WoW expansion and try it out. It's the same as like I'd buy the new Legend of Zelda, and I've been playing that for 20 years. So absolutely, I'd still do it, and I don't feel ashamed of that at all. I love this game, but at the same time, they could certainly do a lot better, and I could certainly be a lot more excited for it than I am now.
Hi guys, what's up, MadSeason here, back with another video for you. As I'm sure you Classic fans know, we've been getting just a ton of updates with the game recently. New schedules, spell batching, loot trading,
I'm amazed
and now there are
about
even
that.
rumblings of a beta starting soon. It
Let's
seems
hope
like
so.
every week we're getting these huge updates.
Manifold, thanks for
Some I've
420.
covered, and some I haven't because I don't want the channel to be flooded with 100 update videos, but they're plentiful enough.
Whoa, look at that sneak this, dude. I want the channel to be flooded with 100 update videos. See, it's like, I wish that... Wait, but is that really bad, though? Like, if you're putting out videos every day, you know, and it's like, oh, wow, Blizzard announced the new big thing, and it's like, oh, it looks like the tiger's tail won't clip into the wall in Alterac Valley. It's like, oh, thank God. You know, Blizzard is finally listening to our prayers. Classic is saved. I mean, it's kind of funny whenever you see a video like that, but I think people really over-exaggerate clickbait. And if you don't like clickbait, then don't click on it. But whenever you see, oh my God, you won't believe what happens next, and it's some girl in a bikini with a red circle around her titties and an arrow pointing at them, and it has 18 million views, that's because people click on it. And it doesn't matter how many times you want to complain about clickbait. If they're getting 18 million views, they're going to keep fucking putting out the videos like that. So if you don't like it, that's too bad.
To raise the question, well, where do we stand? I thought then it might make for a handy video to cover the development of World of Warcraft Classic and combine all of the updates into one video to get everyone up to speed with how things are looking so far. So, the obvious starting point would be the official announcement of its existence back in BlizzCon 2017. After years and years of pressure
I still
and
need to put
shutting
that
down
video
private
up.
servers, Blizzard finally came out and said,
He was so mad.
okay, you think you do, and
He
you
was
do.
so mad, dude.
So we're making classic
was
World
funny.
of Warcraft. That was pretty much it at this point. We basically got a trailer and hey, we're working on it, which of course whipped the fan base up into a frenzy.
Fuck yeah.
What version will it be? Will there be progressive raids? Is there a cash shop? What, shadows?
Man, who the fuck thought that there was gonna be a cash shop? Like, what dumbass idiot thought that there was actually gonna be a cash shop? Nobody fucking thought that. The only people that thought that were people that are, like, this is what I don't like on YouTube, is that they pretend like shit that everybody knows isn't gonna happen is gonna happen. Just to drum up a little bit of, Blizzard, fuck Blizzard. Oh man, I can't believe they're gonna do this, man. Fuck. And they're just getting everybody mad, and it's funny, dude. It's funny, but it's also sad. It's so fucking sad.
Will they have? Everything
Fucking
was left up
cash
for
shop.
speculation for
Course
months,
not.
as our next major update with any substance would be in June of 2018, where Blizzard finally released a blog post regarding Classic called the Dev Water
I remember that day.
which was appropriate because fans were starved.
Just the same way that I'm going to drag this out for 3 hours, I took that dev water cooler, and I remember I was in ICC with McConnell and Esfond. We drug that content out. That's like a 6-hour stream. Like, straight up, that's a 6-hour stream. Like, reading one fucking page.
And dehydrated for any information regarding Classic. In this post, we finally got an update to what version the game will be set in. Classic, of course, had many patches throughout its lifespan, starting with 1.1 and going to 1.12.
Look at that mount.
So naturally, a big question was
Ooh.
what version we were getting.
Lethon. I think
In
it's
this
Lethon,
post,
I think.
they confirmed the game to be set in patch 1.12,
Which everybody
the
knew
reasoning
was
for
gonna
this
happen.
being that it's when the game was the most complete. The balance,
It
although
worked.
imperfect, was in a good place, most zones were fully quested, and
Yep.
so on. And in this post, they also shared some of the technical details behind development, and confirmed
That's the
that
shit
they'd
that
be
nobody
using
understands.
their modern code and old data to try and emulate the 1.12 experience as best they can.
Of
The
course.
main reasons for this being the anti-cheat and anti-botting, avoiding latency and stability issues,
Yep.
and just in general, throwing away decades of improvements and optimizations in code isn't exactly the most efficient methodology. This both satiated and worried fans. Well, actually, you could
I remember we spent like an hour talking about just that word, modern code. And thinking about like, oh, does that mean this is going to happen? Does that mean that's going to happen? It's like, the funny thing about the classic audience is they freak out about anything. Like, you know, like those fish that, like, if you touch them once, the oil from your fingers will make them die? That's how sensitive the classic audience is.
say that about anything with how heated the discussion is. J. Allen Brack could fart, and there would be a 1,000-page thread about it. Is this a vanilla fart? Did the methane form from food prepared in 2004? Does it smell like a fart from 2004?
Okay.
There, look. I think it's trying to tell us something.
Yeah. Look at the shadow
But
on it.
nonetheless, the article brought up more questions than answers. Would
Yep.
the modern engine be noticeable? Is 1.12 the right patch? What about the raids?
Everybody thought it was.
Will they be unlocked all at once?
Nobody
or would
thought
they be
that.
emulated like the original?
Nobody
and
fucking
really
thought
slowly
that.
over time? These questions went unanswered for the time being, and the next major event was the announcement of a playable demo at that year's BlizzCon. Both attendees and those watching at home would have access to a limited demo of what they had working so far. The focus was questing.
Esfon went ahead of time, and he got on one of the computers when he wasn't supposed to, and he recorded himself playing the classic demo for like 5 minutes before they got him the fuck out of there. It was so funny, dude.
In two different zones, and that's Westfall for the Alliance and the Barrens for the Horde, and players would be restricted
Well, he did
to
on
levels
stream.
15 through 19. There would be no dungeons nor PvP, barring the dueling system, of course.
That was
so
not
it was
good.
pretty limited, but who cares? It's official classic, and we actually get to play it. Another update
Oh, dude,
was
it was
posted
beautiful.
shortly after, and they
Playing on that-
elaborated on their decision
was so
to
much
make
fun,
use
too.
of their modern codebase, and confirmed another lingering question, and that's World of Warcraft Classic would have full Battle.net integration.
Everybody knew
meaning
that shit was
just
gonna
like all
happen.
Blizzard games, you can chat with your Battle.net
Everybody
friends
knew it.
and join voice chat and so on while playing Classic. This was good news for some and bad news for others, as there is a hardcore following for that 100% emulation. For example, this makes talking cross-faction much easier, which eliminates some of that faction separation, which was a bigger aspect back then.
Because
really
people don't
depends on
have
your
Discord
perspective.
nowadays.
This was when things
They'd have to
were
call
really
each other
starting
on a
to
phone,
heat up,
the
though,
landline.
as players would be able to data mine the game, and some screenshots of the build that they were using were starting to get leaked, as you can see by this classic login screen. The day finally came, though, at BlizzCon 2018, and players for the first time in 11 years got to revisit the world of Azeroth as it was in its classic state. And what they found was, well, a demo. Just as promised, you could play any class from levels 15 to 19 and do some questing
Remember
and
everybody
just soak
complained
in
about
the
the demo?
nostalgia of days long
That shit was
past.
funny.
There were some inaccuracies. The health regeneration was way off, as well as the rogue's energy regeneration, and the loot system was incorrect,
Yep.
and a bunch of various other things, but for the most part, it was classic World of Warcraft.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Along
It
with
was
the
beautiful.
demo, we also got a vague release date in that summer of 2019, which came as a surprise to many, quite a bit earlier than what most people thought, and it would also be playable with just a normal subscription fee to World of Warcraft. No expansion nor special purchase needed. As you'd expect, the demo raised many more questions, and a good
Like, dude, there's something really special about just, like, streaming classic WoW and just, like, talking about classic WoW. I don't know if that makes me, like, a nerd or whatever, but whenever I do it, I start to feel so good. It's just, it's like sitting in the Goldshire Inn. You know what I mean? It just feels right. Fuck yeah, dude. Fuck yeah. Yo, what if Blizzard pulls some kind of global warming shit and they say the summer is actually going to be like in November? And then they blame Donald Trump for the reason of why Classic takes longer. Is because he caused global warming. Like, I mean, like, you could see that happening. Like, that's actually really smart. I should send that to Blizzard. I mean, it's a really, really dumb idea, but I feel like at least a dozen people would buy into it.
amount of them would be answered in a panel focusing on Classic. In this, they talked a bit more about the technical details about
have
their
that shirt.
emulation and some of the difficulties that they
Fuck
faced
yeah, dude.
using the modern code with the old data, and assured players that an authentic recreation of the
I'll have to wear
original
it one day.
game was paramount, even going as far as keeping that old 16 debuff slot limit on enemies, which had huge implications for endgame class
That
balance.
was a lot of fun.
They also confirmed no LFR, no cross-realm grouping,
Whoever
flying,
fucking-
and other modern conveniences that didn't exist in
Who
Classic.
fucking thought that was going to
Conversely,
happen?
however, they did share some changes that they were planning. Things that they deemed unimportant, such as the lag you used to get with the old mail system,
Yeah.
they chose not to emulate, and maybe the character creation screen will look slightly different, and so on.
Okay.
They said that while they're trying to be as authentic as possible, they're not going for pixel point accuracy and things that really have no consequence on the player's gameplay. However, in this list,
Duh.
they also included loot trading. For those who don't know, in the modern game, if you loot an item in a dungeon or a raid or whatever, you can trade it to the other players who were in the group at the time that you looted it. This was introduced because it was common for players to mistakenly loot
It's introduced because Blizzard wants to save money on tickets.
items. You could always just open up a GM ticket to have the matter resolved,
Yeah,
but this
yeah,
saved
yeah.
players the trouble
Yeah,
and Blizzard some money, I'm sure. However, players found an issue with this, setting up
that's a big true,
scenarios
boys.
where a group of 4 friends were running a dungeon with a random stranger. Essentially, they could all 4 roll on an item, and whoever wins, they just trade it to the person who actually needs it, creating scenarios where people
Yep.
could pretty much be locked out of loot
Yep.
if they don't bring any friends with them.
Yep.
Again,
That's right,
this was still
dude.
possible in Classic. It's just that players would have to go through a GM, so it was much more work. So
Much
the
more
idea
money.
here is because it's so convenient, it'll happen more frequently. Blizzard would
They
later
fixed that.
provide an update on this, as I'll explain
Yeah,
later.
they fixed that, though.
Another issue players found is that the servers used for the demo had sharding. Basically, players who are on the same realm are split up into different shards of the same server. This is done both to prevent stability issues, and so there aren't 1,000 people trying to kill 5 boars. However, Classic didn't have sharding, so it became another heated debate. Some are for it, citing that it's a good thing for the overall health of the game, and others are against it, saying that the community aspect in Classic is what made it special, and
they're gonna do sharding on release. That's what's gonna happen. Okay, let's just get that out of the way. It's what's gonna happen. If they do sharding for the opening of the gates of AQ, I'm gonna cut my fucking dick off and I'm gonna eat it. That's how mad I'm gonna be. I'm gonna be furious if they do that. And I don't think that they will, but I would rather the servers crash than them add sharding. On release, hey, I don't want to see it, but I'm not gonna complain about it too much. It seems like it's a realistic thing. It's just at a certain point, it's like, yeah, obviously they're gonna do this. But anything beyond like maybe 2 or 3 weeks into release, if there's any sharding at all, you bet your ass I'm gonna fucking complain about it. Because I need content for my stream.
it should be left untouched, no matter the cost. Blizzard did respond to players' concerns, and they confirmed that although it wouldn't be fully activated at all times in every zone of the game, it is something that...
Wait a second, dude. This guy just donated $280. No need to read, just showing my support. What do you mean, no need to fucking read? You just donated me $200. What? How do you think I'm not gonna fucking read? Of course I'm gonna fucking read that. Yo, thank you, man. Holy shit. Thank you so much. Like, wow. Thank you, dude. Of course I'm reading the $200 donation. Oh my god. Thank you so much, man. That means a lot. It really does. Thank you so much, Livo. I'm gonna take that money, and I'm gonna go to Best Buy later on, and I'm gonna buy something I don't need. Like, straight, I'm gonna buy, like, you know what I really needed is a tablet holder. Like, totally needed a tablet holder, 100%. And then maybe I'll buy this other game that I'm just gonna complain about on the stream in like a week or something, right? I mean, yeah, one of the way or another, okay? I'll figure out, yeah, $200 tablet holder. Look, it's gonna be really good. It's gonna be an Apple tablet holder, so that's gonna be halfway there.
They consider helpful at times when there's a high amount of activity in one area, such as the launch of the game.
Yep.
Again, another very heated discussion amongst players, and as it stands today, this is Blizzard's position on the matter. Another big piece of news, however, was the announcement of a content release schedule. One of the questions I posed earlier was, are the raids all being released at launch?
No.
Or what about the PvP system, which didn't exist until patch 1.4? Well, we got an answer to these questions. Now, the original schedule was in 4 phases, seen here, but I won't go into this too much because it was actually updated months later to the 6-phase schedule. No specific dates yet, because we don't even have a release date for the game.
Yep.
But first, just talking PvE here, we have Phase 1, which is the release raids, the Molten Core and Onyxia, just like how it was in 2004, and also the Dungeon Maraudon, which originally came a couple months after release.
I did.
For Phase 2, we have the Dire Maul dungeon, as well as the raid bosses, Azurgos and Kazakh. Phase 3...
There's people... Yo, Iron Man does... what is this? Iron Man? What the fuck is that? Well, thank you either way, for the 200 viewer host. I really appreciate that. I couldn't read the other words. It's like some kind of like long fucking thing. Anyway, people are mad that Maraudon came out on release. Who gives a fuck? Like, that's not a big deal. It's kind of a big deal, but like, I mean, on like a big deal scale, it's like a 1.
Includes the Blackwing Lair raid and the Darkmoon Fair. And Phase 4, we have Zul'Gurub and the Green Dragon World bosses.
I'm more excited to do ZG than any other raid.
AQ40
I love
AQ20,
ZG.
Along with the accompanying war effort.
I'm going to do it with
well
Master Loot, so I get the mounts.
Which came around the same time. And lastly, for Phase 6, we have the final raid of Vanilla, which is of course Naxxramas, and the Scourge Invasion to mark its release.
I don't understand how NOS creates 3 servers full of people that don't crash in an excess amount before launch. Blizzard thinks they need sharding where they can easily triple the amount of servers and have them all much higher speed. Well, I think that both of us here are not network engineers, so we don't actually know what we're talking about, and we're just basing our assumptions off of things that we don't actually understand. So I'm going to assume that Blizzard kind of knows what they're doing, even though I do think they probably could do a much better job. Okay, let's be honest. We really don't know what we're talking about whenever it comes to network stuff. Now, I have my opinions, I have my assumptions, but at the end of the day, with how many good decisions Blizzard has made with Classic, I actually am going to give them the benefit of the doubt about what to do on launch, okay? Like, I am. They've made so many good decisions so far, I think they've earned that. Sharding on release would be fine, though, but how many players we'll get from pure hype? Post-release, we should lose some of the players that are just in for the Classic hype, and we shouldn't need it after that? Exactly. Exactly, Shiny. Thank you very much to the 5, man. Okay, let's go here.
All of these are pretty close in relation to each other, and this came as huge news, as it's a much more accurate emulation than the original release schedule.
Yeah, people are really happy about this.
It's not exact, of course. As I mentioned, Classic had 12 patches, but still, it's pretty close.
Good enough.
And they also noted that certain aspects of itemization would also be following this plan.
That's a big deal.
Of course, as you'd imagine,
that's
more
a really
and more
big
powerful
deal.
items would be slowly added to the game. Some would say are too powerful to be raiding the Molten Core or Onyxia with, so these two will also be released, along with the phase that they deem to be the most appropriate. Specifically for now, they said that it would be Phase 5, which is the Ankiraj phase. So that's all of the
they were
PvE
effectively
stuff.
catch-up gear.
This was updated even further on April 8th to include PvP scheduling. Obviously, at Phase 1, we have PvP in the game just as it was. You can kill anyone you want, there's just no reward other than the satisfaction of crushing some Horde scum. And in Phase 2, which is the Dire Maul and Outdoor Raid Boss phase, we're seeing the Honor system being released, along with the PvP rank rewards. This is that old rank 14
I used
system
to hate dishonorable
where you now
kills.
get honor for kills, which allows you to climb rank and get better and better rewards the higher rank that you get. In Phase 3, which is the Blackwing Lair and Darkwing Fair phase, we see the release of Altric Valley and the Warsong Gulch battlegrounds.
Ice Barb Spear.
These two released together originally, so you can see just how closely that they're trying to emulate it here. And Phase 4, which is Zul'Gurub and Green Dragons, we have the Great Arathi Basin battleground. And lastly, for Phase 6, we have the World PvP objectives in Silithus and the Eastern
I can't wait to go
Plaguelands.
and collect sand.
If you remember, you could collect Silithus in Silithus, or capture towers in the Eastern Plaguelands,
it's exciting.
And PvP there for some rewards. As I recall, these didn't see much use on my server, but hey, it's there.
I would actually do that
PvE
sometimes.
and PvP, all of it is seeing a release schedule closely emulating the original timeline back in 04 to 07.
You're goddamn
Going
right.
into more detail with the Altric Valley though, a small caveat here is that the battleground itself saw some big changes over its lifespan, even in vanilla.
I don't remember that.
In general, from its release to the launch of the Burning Crusade, it was made to be easier with the removal of guards and other various nerfs. And it was confirmed that the version to be released
I kind of
in Phase
remember
3
that.
is the final 1.12 vanilla version, nerfs and all.
It's a long time
again,
ago.
while they're pretty close in most aspects, it's not an exact recreation. A big
Is
deal
my
for
fan
some,
loud?
and not so much for others.
I can turn it down if it's
But
loud.
while we're on the subject of PvP, we did also receive an update on spell batching.
No,
This is how
good.
the servers process inputs from the players. Trying not to get too technical here, basically, the system used to be more inefficient back in the day, and specifically in a PvP setting,
This
you
is
could have
talking about the
situations
spell
where
batching.
players could activate spells at certain times that they shouldn't be able to activate. A good example they gave was a warrior pummeling a mage's polymorph. Back then, it was actually quite common.
That is how I got the fork in my arm. Because I cast Spell Reflect at the exact same time as Cyclone went off. Like, spell batching caused me to stab a fork in my arm twice. So I want you guys to keep that in mind. Like, this specific change, like, Blizzard is physically harming me with this change.
That you could get a pummel off while a mage is sheeping you, but you still get sheeped because the inputs arrived in the same batch. As someone who played a rogue back then, there are some nifty tricks that you could do with your banish spell. You could basically negate any other spell if you had proper timing. Most of the time for
those
me,
old
it was
Nilio
just
videos,
luck,
dude? Those were the
because
fucking
as you
days.
imagine, it takes a certain amount of finesse and
I used to watch those all the
experience
time.
to be able to anticipate other people's actions. But even still, it happened pretty frequently, all things considered.
Like two warriors charging each other.
A big question was if this was something they were also going to emulate, and they said yes.
I'm still amazed
it's not
at this.
exact. They're kind of doing it in a roundabout way, but in a March of 2019 post, they stated that it's something that they're looking to recreate to better match the flow of combat in vanilla World of Warcraft. I mentioned earlier that I would reference the loot trading again. This also saw an update in March of 2019. Due to player feedback, Blizzard decided to rethink their philosophy regarding loot trading, and they decided to take out that 2-hour window for anything other than raids, acknowledging its potential for abuse. The mindset here
that was the
is
smartest
if you're in a
decision
raid,
they could make.
Everyone is probably trustworthy or in a guild with each other, and if you're
decision.
pugging it, that's sort of a risk you're
Fucking
already
brilliant.
taking. Note that they are considering the Blackrock Spire a dungeon with these rules, so no loot trading in there either.
Yeah, that's fine.
They also
that's
said
fine.
that GMs would not step in if players actually did loot an item to the wrong person, so you gotta be careful. And lastly, as I mentioned earlier, the latest piece of news is that through some digging, players have found out that Blizzard put up a
that's
classic
actually
beta
smart.
on their content delivery network.
So, like, that's what they need to do, right? Is, like, obviously you can't fucking deal with all this. Like, Blizzard, like, once you realize their goal is that they don't want to talk to you. Like, that's their business plan. Do not fucking talk to the customers. Don't say a goddamn word to them, because if we do, that's money. And we don't want to spend money. So, that's the focus. Do not talk to the customers. Just stay as far away from them as possible. Make them go through the automated, fucking flowchart design that they have. And, you click here. It's like a choose your own adventure book, except for it's the customer service. And every single page ends in nothing. It's like you lose. And there's only one of them that actually takes you to a call support phone number. It's not good, but it is what it is.
This turned out to actually be an alpha for just Blizzard friends and family, but it could be a sign of a beta approaching in the not-so-distant future.
Soon, please.
And that's where we stand right now. That's what we know about Official Classic from its announcement at BlizzCon 2017 to today. As it stands, everyone is just waiting in anticipation for a beta announcement so we can see how the game has progressed since that demo release. To sign up yourself, just go to your Blizzard account page and find your beta profile settings, and make sure that Warcraft is ticked. From there, it's just waiting.
I almost wish that Blizzard wouldn't give me the beta, just so I could make a bunch of drama about it. Just so I could, start complaining and, act like a victim. You know what I mean? Imagine how many victim videos I could do if Blizzard didn't give me the beta. I honestly, I would be like a martyr. It'd be great, man. Pretend you didn't get it. That'll be amazing. And then, pretend I didn't get it, even though I did get it, and then make a few videos, and then say that Blizzard finally broke down, and I pressured them so much that they had to give me a beta. Then one day I just log on with the beta, dude. Oh my god. I make the entire thing up. Just script the whole goddamn thing. It'd be amazing.
Hoping that you get in once the beta is actually announced. So, in summary, we have a 6-phase content release schedule for both PvE and PvP, spell batching, 16 debuff slot limit. These are all things that are being emulated pretty closely to the original. The exceptions would be that sharding for heavy population loads, and 1.12 Altric Valley, and that pseudo-loot trading, which will be in raids, but not for dungeons. There are a couple of miscellaneous things that I wanted to include here just for the sake of it. I won't go over all of these one by one because it would be like a 40-minute video.
It's colorblind mode, basically.
But through various interviews and whatnot, they have shared some of the more finer details of what's happening and what isn't. For example, right-click player reporting is in, which is a big deal for some people. And as for the stuff that's...
I don't think they should have that. I don't think they should do right-click player reporting. I really think that's a bad idea. It's like, if you have a problem with somebody, and you don't want to fill out a whole ticket about that person, then it probably wasn't that big of a problem. Then it doesn't really matter. If somebody really pisses me off, I will put in a ticket and follow up with the GM. But if you can't be bothered to put in a ticket to complain about someone, then it doesn't matter even to you that much. So who gives a fuck?
Not in, we have that quality of life stuff, such as Dungeon and Raid Finder, flying mounts, and so on. And also things like class balance will of course be in its 1.12 state. We're getting some accessibility stuff, such as colorblind mode, an option for
they should
classic
have blind
graphics,
mode.
And as for the macro
oh wait,
and
they
add-on
already
systems,
do. It's called LFR.
they did say that they are using a hybrid of the new system, but with limitations as a mix to prevent exploits and such, but still, also try to keep it pretty close to classic.
We're actually kind of suspicious of these and skeptical about the possibility of add-ons reproducing some of the functionality that we've deliberately removed from Classic that we feel could be harmful to the authentic experience. We're likely going to find some kind of middle ground that combines the old and the new here, with a goal towards making sure that the vast majority of the add-ons that people know and expect function with the goal of an authentic experience.
That's so good. Like, that's actually so fucking good, because the last thing that I would want is for there to be like an add-on like Gear Score, for example. But like, let's say it's like Raider IO, and it completely changes the dynamic of Classic, because Classic, like, one of the big things in Classic is being able to like make friends and like not having as many numerical like numbers that you're assigned to. And I know, like, obviously there's always going to be some way that people do that, but I do think Blizzard should try to tone that down as much as possible. Like, imagine this, okay? Imagine if they made an add-on that functioned just like the Group Finder. Like, think about how dumb that would be. Like, that's the last thing that I would ever want to fucking see in Classic.
All in all, for those looking for an experience that's pretty close to the original, things are looking good. The communication has been superb, and in fact, I have a feeling that this video will be outdated pretty soon here, because we've just been getting so many updates recently.
You're goddamn right.
I do plan on covering them here and there within reason, so check out my latest videos to see if anything has changed, and I hope that you found this video helpful in getting you up to speed in the development of World of Warcraft Classic. Like the video if you liked it, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Dude, I'm really just hoping that it's
Farewell
good,
for now, mortals. We hope you enjoyed today's video. See you again soon.
Okay, let's see what the comments are. Let's read the comments and then we'll start the transmog competition, okay? Just a second, let's see here. Day 42 of hiding in Asmongold's closet. I still haven't had a good chance to escape because this baldy stays inside all day. The smell of his clothes is unbearable, and I'm probably going to die soon. F in chat for me. This is insane. We all know Asmongold frequently does reacts to videos about Mad Season Show content because BFA sucks. There's nothing to do in BFA but enjoy Mad Season Show's retro enthusiasm. Big true. Big true. Can't wait for all the normies complaining that leveling takes so long. I think most people quit around level 42 to 44. There's no way they're going to quit after they got their mount. They're going to quit at 35 to 38. Probably actually more like 30, because that's far enough away from the mount that you know you're not going to get it in the next couple of days. Like, I would say probably like 30 to 30, like 28 to 32 is where I think a lot of people are going to quit. And that's what I would guess, at least. Let's see here. Is there any more of these that are interesting to look at? Let's see. Should start videos of classic member berries from the South Park. Thank you for your videos. Okay, yeah, so there's nothing really particularly exciting here. Okay, let me go over here. I'll link the video to you guys so you guys can go ahead and give Mad Season a sub, give them a like on the video, and just be supportive in general, right? I mean, obviously these videos are really good. I really like the way he puts his videos together, and I don't know. It's always good for me to see classic content. Like for quest helpers in classic, I mean, so how do you guys feel about quest helpers in Classic? Do you think they should disable them? Like, I kind of want them to disable quest helpers. I do. I think it would be better for the game if quest helpers were disabled. Yeah, I don't like seeing any of that kind of stuff, because the first quest helper that came out was in like BC or Wrath. It was like Carbonite Quest. There wasn't really a very strong quest helper in Vanilla WoW. And I'd like to see them disabled. I don't know how, but this just trash fucking respawned somehow. But they were in Classic. Well, it wasn't like really in Classic, and it's also like things that, like, I just feel like it deludes the Classic experience. I would not like to see a quest helper. Okay, I'll be that. I already know all the quests. Yeah, I mean, I probably remember about half of them too, but that doesn't mean that I still want to have them in the game. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of people that probably, like, part of vanilla WoW is like, you guys remember yesterday whenever I made a fool out of myself and I was trying to do that Brawlers Guild quest and I didn't know how to do it because I didn't read the quest, I didn't actually read the text, and I looked stupid? That's Classic. That's what it should be like. And I think that's what they should focus on. I really, really do. And want add-ons for HP bars since you can't see enemy players in Classic? Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different ways that you can do it.